Hi, PhD students. My name's Mark James, and I'm currently the program director for the PhD and MA programs in Linguistics and Applied Linguistics and the master's program in TESOL. And this screencast is one in a series that we are putting together to provide some guidance regarding some of the things that PhD students typically have to deal with in their programs. So this one is about how to choose a PhD supervisory committee. So the next few slides we'll take a look at summarize some ideas that faculty have suggested for how to get started with this task. And we've divided them into a couple of steps. So we'll start by taking a look at the first step, which is finding a committee chair. So the first thing you can do there is look for a faculty member whose work overlaps with your own interests and who you may have experience working with. Speaking from my own experience, the overlap that you might find between your work and a faculty member's might be in terms of topic, but it might also be in other ways. For example, I've worked with students sometimes on projects in which they are focusing on a topic that I haven't necessarily studied, but they're using a research design that I'm familiar with. So I'm able to help to guide them in terms of designing the research, even though the specific question that they're trying to answer is one that I haven't necessarily focused on with my own research. And just looking again at the second part of that bullet, if you've had experience working with a faculty member, for example, as a student in a class, you'll have a sense of how that faculty member provides guidance to students. You know, what sort of feedback you might get on your work, what kind of help you might get if you meet with a faculty member to brainstorm ideas about a project. And those are important things as well, because ideally you'll find a faculty member who you are able to work with as your chair in a way that fits with your own learning styles. So then the next thing to do is to ask the faculty member if she or he is available to join students' committees at the moment, and if so, if it might be possible to meet to discuss your plans and the possibility of her or him chairing your committee. So that points to an important consideration, which is faculty availability. Faculty members may be very interested in working with you on your project, but sometimes other things are going on that might preclude this. Faculty members may be at the moment involved in extra work with professional associations, conferences, new research projects, or already supervising a large number of students' projects. So it's worth checking on their availability with them early in this process. So the next thing to do if you have a meeting with a faculty member is to describe your research plan and find out how this might fit with the faculty member's schedule. Faculty members may, for example, have upcoming sabbaticals or may be unavailable during certain times of the year, like summer months. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that a faculty member can't supervise your project. It just might mean that at certain times during the length of your project, they may be more or less available depending on what's happening, what other things they have to do. And that's something for you to be aware of and to work out with them upfront as much as possible. And just to expand on that third point a little bit, this meeting is a chance for you to talk to the faculty member, not just about the specific research project that you've got in mind, but also about your more general strategy for completing the entire program. You still have to work presumably on completing coursework, portfolio papers, and it would be a good idea to help the faculty member to understand how you plan on going about those things. For example, what sort of timeline you're working with. And this meeting is also a good time to get more of a sense of what the faculty member would expect from you as one of her or his supervisees. So you might discuss how other students' projects have gone. For example, what, if any, specific benchmarks the faculty member might have had for students to meet along the way. And this should give you a clearer idea of what to expect. And then, based on all the information you've gathered in this meeting, you can decide if the fit looks good. Go ahead and ask the faculty member if she or he can chair your committee. So those are our general suggestions for finding a committee chair. And once you've worked through those and got that sorted out, you can move on to the next step. Step 2, finding additional members for your committee. So we've got 3 bullet points on this slide. The first one says follow a procedure similar to that used to find a committee chair. So that means looking again for faculty members whose work overlaps in some way with your research interests and who you may have taken classes with, so you're familiar with the way that they work with students. But the second part of this suggestion in bullet 1 is to be mindful of interpersonal dynamics between committee members. Commonly, students check with the chair before inviting other faculty members to join the committee. So it's a good idea, once you've got some faculty members in mind who might be additional members of the committee, it's a good idea for you to check with your committee chair to see that this makes sense before you actually contact them. And the remaining 2 bullets on this slide are just a couple of things to keep in mind as you're thinking about additional committee members. The second bullet says committee members do not have to all share the same area of content expertise. They might complement other areas of your work. And that's related to the point on the previous slide about finding a chair for your committee. The area of overlap that you might find between your work and a faculty member's may be in terms of the specific topic that you're planning to research, but it may be in other ways as well. For example, expertise with a particular kind of research design. And the last bullet says committee members can be from outside the English department or outside the university. So there's flexibility there, and you can keep that in mind as you're thinking about additional members for your committee. So that's it. These 2 broad steps and a small number of general suggestions should at least get you started in thinking about how to put together your committee. But there is one more suggestion on this final slide. If you are stuck, contact the director of your program to ask for guidance more specific to your situation. Putting together a committee is a very important part of your program, and you may have specific questions that we haven't been able to answer in these general slides. So if something comes up, by all means get in touch with the director of your program, and we will do our best to put you on the right track. So thank you very much for listening. I hope this has been helpful, and best of luck with your studies.